This is movie 3A, and it's really just to make sure that people are aware of other options with regard to massing. So you see, if I go to the in-place mass, and I'm going to call this cylinder, you see that what I can do is say pick the lines. This is on my model lines that were on level 1, and the finished form is inferred by Revit. So when you go and you say let's create a solid form, if there's some doubt about what it is you're creating, it'll offer you the two choices. Do you want a sphere from the circle, or do you want a cylinder? So I can say cylinder and OK and get out. The other one would, so the other option would have been if I had said create a mass form, so massing, in place mass. I'm just going with the default names. So I should have done cancel. Massing, in place mass, dome. Okay. Pick lines on top of these model lines. Create form. So if I choose my second choice there, I can pick and make a sphere. And then if I've got a sphere, you see if I select the form, you can tell it what angle it begins at and what angle it ends at. So if I did, for example, if I said 0 to 90 or 180, or start at 180 and go to 360, so I should change that back, 180 to 360. That's me like controlling the sphere that is created, and exactly how much, whether it's really a sphere or a revolved form. So just to do it again quickly so you see it, if I did start at 180 and go 45 degrees, oops, sorry, start at 180 and go to, sorry, 225. That's kind of what I'm getting from my forms. So you can create many different forms from there. I'm going to do a Control Z back where that was just a dome. Finish OK. So that was inferring from a closed sketch. The other one I want to show here is if I go to massing, in place masses, kind of a revolve. The way this would work is if you select to create, line work on, I'm holding the tab key to pick all of the, so I've got lines all the way around there, or you could have traced it. Then I'm going to hold the control key and pick that. So I've actually got two objects selected. And when you say finish, because you've got that single line selected, Revit's going to assume that what you're doing is, oops, sorry, I need to have the massing in sight, in place mass, revolve. Let's pick it, edit it. That's the one called revolve. So I had that done, but I didn't have anything drawn here. I need to draw a line. I'll just draw it at the bottom so you can see it. So I've really got that and this. So if I select both, I'm going to hold the control key to do that. And that, and I say create a form. I don't need that. Okay, the problem is that is my line work. And my additional line, I'm going to come down and make sure that's level 1. Going to come off from the end of it and then draw that as a separate line there. So really this is my line work here, and that's my line work on there. If I hold the control key, little plus sign, pick both of these, then I can go create it and it revolves. And similar to what we saw before is if I click the form there, if I said start at 0 but only go 180, or start at, go to 360 but start at 180. So what I can do is control the forms that I'm getting there. Last thing on here, that would be the revolved form. The fact that you can have solids and voids. So if I say that, probably the easiest way to do this would be to say create these as different masses and then add them or subtract them from each other. So if I said massing in site, in place mass, I'll just go with the default names because it doesn't matter what I'm doing here, and I'm going to say I'll do the inside first. Rectangle here, create, done, out. In place, rectangle here, create, click on screen, out. I'm going to turn these off. So if I go down to the hide element and hide element, I'll do the same for these two, and I'll do them separately. So I'm going to say massing in site, in place mass, just go with the default. I'll do pick lines, so it's just on top of this. Solid form, triangle, cylinder, drag it up, done, and one more here. Massing in site, in place mass, for pick lines, create form, solid form, triangle, bring it up to where it lines up with this one, and done. So let me go back and restore that. So really what I've got is 4 different masses. I could set my heights. This is 36 feet 4. Finish this. I just want to make sure that it's coming through, because this is an internal courtyard, and same with these things here. I'm going to make them the same height as this building here. So my favorite Revit tool, align to the top of that, this, align to the top of that, this. Now I could have created the inside as a void, but I want you to see that it's probably easier to work with them by using the options that you can say cut and join. So if I said cut, the element that you're going to cut is that mass. What you're going to cut from it is that mass. Why does that? Let's change that. Let's do it that way where I say just make that a void. Done. God damn it. Let me try that again. So what I'm going to do is say cut geometry from that. I wonder if I render that. I just want to see if I get that whole surface there. No. Stop. Maybe do this later. Let's get this right. Okay, so I'm going to say under massing in sight, in place mass, let's call it adjacent building. Pick lines. Do the inside first of all. Create a solid form. Pick, tab, create solid form. I'm going to tab and temporarily hide. Tab and temporarily hide. And pick lines there. Create sphere. It goes, a cylinder is going all the way up. And another separate form. Pick lines there. Cylinder is going all the way up. Unhide. And what I'm going to do is just line everything up at the top. So if that is going to be the height of my building, and that value is is 4 stories, so 36 feet 4. And then I'll use my favorite Revit tool to say top of that surface and top of that surface and cylinder, top of that surface and cylinder. And then I can say that the actual tab there, that thing that I created, I don't want that to be a solid, I want that to be the internal courtyard, so turn that into a void to cut away that space. And similarly, if I said I don't want that to be a tab, I don't want that to be a hell, let's take those out so I don't show them at all. This is not about let's just leave it at that. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see, I set that at okay, I'll maybe work on that. So there's other forms. Let me just show one of the last thing on there. If I pick the bottom of this, if I say that's the oh no, I forgot to do this one. Forgot to do the thing in the middle as well. Let me do the level 1. Here's like a canopy situation maybe that you want for a shading device. What I want to do is look at this is called front, this one's called middle, this one is called back. So if I go to this view, I want to show that if I say under architecture and set, I can say set front active. If I click on show, it'll show me where I'm drafting. Just the plane, don't really need that. What I want to do is say I want to create an in-place mass. So massing in sight, in-place mass, mass 1. Let's call this canopy. And what I want to do is say I'm going to use the spline, for example. I'm just going to use the above the first level. And escape. That was front. Let's go to middle. Draw a spline. Escape. Go to back. Draw a spline. Okay, look at it in 3D. If I select all of these, then what it assumes I want to do is create a loft between them. So with them all selected and I say create a solid form, it's going to create a surface there. Finish the mass. The last one I wanted to show would be if I say massing in sight, in place mass, sweep. I'm going to put a point on that line. Oh, sorry, that's not right. Let's get rid of that. Let me create the line that I've got. So that's me drawing the line on top of this. That's the first step. Then a plane that I want to draft on, so I'm placing that on here. Pick on the plane to make it active and draw the shape of the carport that I want. So what I'm going to do is go in and say, goes from the here straight up 9 feet 1, out here, going to say 15 feet. If all I need is surfaces, that's all I want to have. If I select the line, hold the control key and I select this, then I can say create a form from that. What it'll do is sweep it along. If I want, if I pick the form again, no, we're good, that'll do it. Okay, so I have some time to work on that. Let's get out of there. Let's not do any more